choosing.
What'd you do with your cold brew?
I put it over here where I can be most likely to spill it later.
Okay. I'm just gonna give you your water over here.
Great.
Perfect.
Oh my God. We're recording.
We did it, guys. We did it.
What did that person put on Facebook?
Oh my gosh.
Somebody in our Facebook group, we just read right before we started.
Cassie, maybe?
The funniest. We both just
Cassie Deanne.
died laughing.
She said, I just feel like this belongs here. Says, are you ever just reading a book and you come across a word that you don't know how to pronounce, so you just go in your head when it's someone's name, and you have to keep doing that for the rest of the book? And when you have to actually say it out loud to someone and you just kind of get quieter as you say it.
I have no idea why you guys would post that.
Don't know why you would tag us in this.
I never do that. I don't even know. Penitentiary.
I'm wounded.
Wounded. I am hurt. No, I put this in our Instagram story the other day where I was like, I hear people get shamed on other podcasts for not knowing.
You all love us.
Yeah, you all are so great. For you all, it's like, oh, Megan and Kate, you bless their hearts.
They're so good at this.
They can't speak.
They do.
And they have a podcast.
No, they're from Kentucky.
They're from yeah. Maybe that's why you all give us like a pass. It's
bless
like
y'all's heart.
Well,
look at them.
they Southern. They just say things.
I got what my mama likes to call the sugars.
But whatever. Yeah. Google something for something. Yeah. Whatever the reason, we appreciate it, man. It's great. It definitely takes the stress out of how I never know how to say things.
Yeah, it makes me more confident in saying those wrong.
Even I am sure about how I'm saying
how wrong it is and how good it sounds when it's wrong.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
So hey, this is the Witches Magic Mystery Podcast.
I'm Kara.
I'm Megan.
Here we are.
Yeah, I do. When I'm researching a case, I will definitely have those moments where I'm like, oh, there's a name I'm going to say wrong later.
But you forget to look it up.
Yeah.
And you just do it.
There's a name Kara's going to laugh at.
It's so fun. It's fine.
I always hope like it never comes off as disrespectful of people.
Oh, no.
It's not a lack of respect as much
I just
as
don't know what
just,
I'm doing.
I'm never going to get it right. Yeah. I've even tried being like, Google how to say this, and it'll do like the mechanical pronunciation, which is still not guaranteed to be true.
No.
So yeah, I'd rather be confidently unsure.
Yeah. Yep.
And okay with it.
Yeah, and just move along.
All right, you want to test this real quick and see?
Yep, let's do it.
Because confidently unsure. Yeah.
Yep.
And okay with it.
Yeah, and just move along.
All right, you want to test this real quick and see?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's get a little bit more in the middle, I guess. I feel like, as always, I'm louder.
Why don't you just meet me in the middle? This is my mind, just a little.
Okay.
Hello.
We probably should have discussed who's going first.
Oh yeah, I'm just in here.
Well, we just did the Whitewater. We're doing the second
Whitewater
part of
rafting.
Whitewater.
Yep.
I've never gone whitewater rafting. Have you?
I'm terrified of it. I will drown.
I love how you and I are like...
I will flop out of that raft that's just air and materials and fall into...
Air and materials.
And fall into the water that's rafting. And I'll get sucked under.
The white water.
I'll get sucked under and my head will hit a rock or some sort of like floating things, creatures. I don't know. Something could suck me under. I would die.
100%.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen.
It seems far more likely in my head than I'm sure it actually is. But yeah, I mean, I like canoeing and all that kind of stuff on like calm water.
If it's calm.
Yeah, but like whitewater rafting, I'm just like, I'm not sure.
They make you wear helmets for a reason. I'm not doing that.
This is a death trap. That's what I would think. Maybe like quiet, peaceful trees, birds. And they're like,
I'm gonna die! We're all gonna die! The people would be panicking.
How can you all be so calm?
The people would be panicking and like scooting away from her.
My kids would be like, what is wrong with
That's
you?
not our mom.
Like 4-year-olds are like, this is fun. No, it's not.
They're trying to like hold your hand. It's like that ride at Kings Island. That you're in that tube and you're like in the tall seats with all the people and it turns you around. No, I don't like it.
I just appreciate that we're both generally afraid of most things.
Yeah.
When we went to Harry Potter World, we hadn't really discussed it, but it was like, oh, by the way, I don't do roller coasters. And it was like, oh, no, me neither. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
We're just here for the experience.
I had, though, already told myself in my head, like, okay, if Kara wants to ride a roller coaster, you're going to do it. Because that's what you do, Megan. You're going to be a big girl and you're here at an amusement park. You're not going to ruin it for her. And then I was like, oh, thank God. Woo. But just so you know, I would have like risked my whole life.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I love you.
I was like, if she wants to go on this stuff, I mean, if there's water rides and stuff she wants to go on, I'll totally
We're just going to have to.
We did the fun ones.
Thank God. Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw. I know we're 6 minutes in, but I'm just going to keep telling this story.
Y'all love it when we chatter.
We who knows? I may edit this whole thing out, but we put on Instagram because we were like, okay, we're going to ride a ride, and we were at Universal and we're wandering around and we're looking and we see this thing that's like going through the trees and it was real pretty and it was slow and you're like, hanging, like people are hanging.
It was the
from
pterodactyl ride.
Yeah, in the Jurassic Park section. And we were like, that looks okay. It's
we can do that. Slow. It's slow. It's
looks
not
like
going.
Some younger kids are riding.
It's not doing any loops or anything. You're not upside down at all.
Yeah. And then so we're following it around to figure out where the line is, and we get up there. And it's very clearly a children's ride. Like
they're like
we weren't allowed to ride it because we were too big.
We didn't have kids with us,
and all the people in line were like children.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh.
But we can't go on it though.
I'll still ride it. That's the other thing. At first, we noticed when it was all kids, we're like, "Oh, it's a children's ride." But I'm like, I don't care.
Do it. We still got in line for it.
But then it was like a height requirement that you couldn't go over.
Yeah.
So that's that.
We did that. Yeah.
We did the rides where you sit in like a theater seat and it moves you.
Yeah,
it's like 3D, like the Shrek ride.
Yeah. Which I heard that might not be coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they might be getting rid of it. Maybe it's just a random
of the
article.
Shrek ride?
Yeah.
Oh, God. What are we going to ride then?
What are they going to replace it with?
We'll just walk.
The Dr. Seuss ride.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. So, this is the second part of the episode that you heard yesterday. If you're on Patreon, then you're listening to this maybe the same day. Oh my God, Hilary Duff. I haven't thought of that song in forever. So, as you may recall, if you have not listened to yesterday's episode, which is Whitewater Part 1.
Not whitewater rafting.
It's not got anything to do with whitewater rafting. That's referred to as a tangent that we went off on. Go back and listen to that one first.
Yeah. Don't skip
before you listen to this one. Okay, so yesterday we learned all about the like spooky, magical, witchy lore surrounding. Oh, good. That's a good idea, Megan. Just move everything around. Okay, hang on. Hold. We learned all about the witchy lore surrounding Whitewater, Wisconsin, and I
love it.
I love it.
I want to join the school.
Absolutely. I still want to order that book catalog.
Yes.
And then I just want to go there.
Yeah.
I want to see the Witch's Tower. I want to look at the old cemeteries.
Yeah. When was it that they were going to tear the Witch's Tower down?
Later this year? No, later next year, I believe.
Okay, so we have to go before
But they may not tear it down.
How far of a drive is Wisconsin?
Absolutely. No idea. A long time.
I won't ask the device.
Because they'll all start.
She'll tell me multiple things.
So yesterday's I would call the fun episode, and today is decidedly darker. There's going to be several stories, and they're all about murder.
Oh,
in Whitewater. I was going to tell just like one
murders
or two of them, but it was kind of like they're all fairly, there's not a whole lot of details about any of them. So I just lumped them all together. And these are all murders that happened in Whitewater. Are you ready?
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, do it.
Let's make sure we're still recording because that's the life we lead. All right. Joseph and Judith Horan had 4 daughters. Gertrude, Nellie, Anna, and Agnes.
I love the name Agnes.
They're the
so
most
much.
It was 1880, and it's like those are the most 1880 names.
Yeah,
Agnes is a great
amazing.
name. Nellie, I like too. I mean, I like they're all fine, but I'm just like Gertie. Gertie makes me think of Sylvia Likens' case. So.
Oh no,
it's not her fault that her name was this one. It's not her fault. Her name was Gertrude.
No.
So Gertrude actually didn't live in Whitewater, but the rest of her family did. The Horn family was wealthy and aristocratic. They moved to Whitewater in 1880. In 1882, Judith died suddenly.
Oh.
She was the mom. Okay. She'd shown symptoms of poisoning right before she died, but no one suspected anything.
Because they didn't.
I mean, yeah, like
why would there were so many plagues and stuff.
They didn't think automatically that everybody's a murderer the way we do.
Yeah.
Then 6 weeks later, Joseph Horan, died. The dead died, and he had suffered terrible spasms and convulsions,
which also could be poisoning, right?
Right. But he was also 78.
That's true.
So it wasn't like...
Could have been a seizure.
Right. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, he died. It's like he's 78. It was 1880.
Well, yeah, that was
good long life.
A good life. Yeah.
So it's not terribly shocking that he died, but it was 6 weeks after his wife died, which is just like, gosh. So that left the 4 daughters with an inheritance of $5,000.
Which was a lot of money then.
Oh, yeah. And it was split amongst them. So that's about $127,000 today. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's reported that the youngest daughter, Agnes, was 17, and she got the largest portion of the inheritance due to her age.
Oh, they didn't split it equally?
I have no idea why. Were they like, well, you're the youngest, it's going to take you longer to...
Or you each get...
I mean, back then it would be longer to find a husband.
You each get 1,000, but then she gets an extra 1,000 because she's older?
I don't know. No, she's younger.
She's the youngest. Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe they thought these will get married sooner.
Right.
Because, back then it was like... You marry a man.
So you need money to take care of yourself?
I don't know. So it doesn't really matter though, because 2 months later, Agnes is dead too.
Oh my God.
So that left.
Did they all get to keep the house?
I don't know. It just said this was her inheritance, like this was the amount. But after Agnes died, her inheritance was split amongst her 3 surviving sisters. So at this point, obviously, things look suspicious.
Right.
But Whitewater officials couldn't figure out like who would want to kill
this
Horn family. Like, and then nothing happened for a few years until 1884 when Anna got sick.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So late one night, she asked her friend to send for her sister, Nellie, and Nellie went to take care of her. While she was there, she gave her a dose of opium powder. 3 physicians, 3 doctors were called, and they couldn't help her, and she died the following morning.
Oh.
The physicians suspected that she'd been poisoned, so the contents of her stomach were sent to Milwaukee for chemical analysis, which I found fascinating in 1884.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what all they could do.
Yeah.
But it turns out they found strychnine in her stomach.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. So, remember, it's been like 2 years since Agnes died.
Right.
And I guess life had kind of gotten back to normal and people had quit talking about all the deaths in the Horn family and everybody just moved on. But then Anna died and everybody starts talking about it again.
Okay.
The thing is, police figured that someone was targeting the family. Like, obviously. Like someone's targeting the family, but they don't know who. And then weirdly, a young girl said she had seen Nellie purchase strychnine a few days earlier. But don't worry about it. It was for a rat problem, you guys. I don't know why you're looking at me like that,
Why would you be bothered by this?
No, I mean, it's definitely...
There's rats.
Not to kill her sister. That is not... I mean, it's a weird coincidence.
No.
Why would
Dahmer's
you even...
ate all our cats, so we had to get the strychnine.
So, Nellie did go to trial. And here's an actual sentence from the newspaper article.
Oh my gosh, I love it when these things...
I do too.
Because mine's full of
Oh my gosh. So an actual sentence from the newspaper article. In personal appearance, she was prepossessing, though not beautiful. Tall and graceful, she was intelligent and striking. Murderer.
Did she look bookish?
No, she was not bookish. She was conventionally, whatever. Prepossessing. That's what I just, Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
On trial for murder. Let's talk about how good looking she is.
How attractive this lady can be.
The jury deliberated for 12 minutes.
Oh.
And found her not guilty.
Are you kidding me?
Well, she was hot. Hot people don't kill people. She shook
The
everyone's
whole
hands.
entire family is dying.
Yeah, and she was seen buying the very poison that was found in her sister's stomach.
That was for the rat problem.
Guys.
They've had a rat problem this whole time.
She's really intelligent and striking. Not a murderer. So before she shakes everyone's hands on her way out the door. She shakes the lawyer, the judge, every single member of the jury.
Good game, good game,
Thank you.
good game.
That's exactly what it felt like.
It's like I'm in volleyball again. Good game, good game.
Thank you.
Good game.
Good game.
Good game.
Thank you for noticing I'm attractive.
Yeah.
She got married, had kids.
Oh my god.
And died of natural causes.
Oh, she didn't die from strychnine poisoning?
Nope. In her 70s on October 23rd, 1938. That's it. She's buried in Calvary Cemetery.
She lived a long and healthy, eventful life.
Yeah. Free of rats.
No deathbed confessions here.
So yeah, Calvary Cemetery is one of the cemeteries that makes up the Witches Triangle that we talked about in the last episode. Okay? Now, here's the thing I want you all to notice, because you won't notice if I don't point it out to you, and it's very important to me that you
Megan
notice.
needs for you to pay attention right now.
These cemeteries, like, connect the stories in this episode. Thank you. I know you're all applauding. Thank you.
We're just pausing for that moment.
I just want you to notice how I arranged it that way. I was like, oh my God.
It just came to me.
I'm a writer. Okay.
That's great.
So she's buried in Calvary Cemetery. Next to Calvary Cemetery is the University of Wisconsin Whitewater's athletic complex. But
in the 1800s.
Well, that's what it is now. But a long time ago, the land beside the cemetery was once a farm that belonged to Edward and Myrtle Shod.
Okay. Yep.
Myrtle was my dad's mom's name.
I love it.
Oh, I do too. It's such a sweet little demure
kind
of name, like Myrtle.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like this is going to be your favorite.
This is going to be...
Favorite's a weird word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Of these stories. Okay, the Shods rented rooms to students who attended the school.
That's cute.
And they're talking about the University of Wisconsin, essentially, but it wasn't called that back then. It was called the State Normal School. For the normals.
For the norms.
Like, do you think that's to separate itself from the spirituality school?
Go normies.
Go norms. Like, you know, the Morris Pratt spirituality school. Is that to be like, there's the spirituality school, but we're the
non-spiritual school.
I don't know. I don't know. Normals. Maybe that was like a normal, common like phrase back then. I don't know.
That's weird.
Anyway, college students would rent rooms, and Myrtle fell in love with one of those students. His name was Ernst Kufal.
Oh, where's he from? What's he doing?
Wisconsin. I don't know. Ernst Kufal. Like, okay.
I mean,
it is, as it turns out, terribly inconvenient to fall in love with a college student who lives in your house when you have a husband who also lives in your house.
Puts a damper on it.
Naturally, Myrtle decided her husband had to go.
Oh.
So she put some strychnine, because that's the only poison in Wisconsin.
So many rats in Wisconsin, guys. It's all the cheese.
She put it in his prune juice.
Oh.
And Edward Shod died on March 18th, 1922. And then I had this moment. Myrtle murdered.
Myrtle murdered.
Myrtle the murderer.
Myrtle murderer.
It's a really weird children's book, just like waiting.
Married murderer. Myrtle murdered.
Myrtle the married murderer.
Yep.
Okay. But no one knew it. No one knew that she'd murdered him because the coroner said Edward had just had the flu and died of natural causes. Ooh. Which I guess you wouldn't know it was strychnine unless you did the whole chemical analysis thing. And why would you do that?
Because he had the flu and that was deadly then.
The only reason they did that on...
Did they have the flu vaccine problem?
Agnes was because of... Or
the friend that was like, well, I saw her buy strychnine.
Well, no, even before that, it was because all the other people had died. And it was like, we're gonna check this out. So, remember the college guy that Myrtle was in love with. Here's a one weird thing. I picture Myrtle as my grandmother, right? So, but I don't actually think Myrtle was that much older than this college student.
Okay.
In my head, Myrtle's an old lady, but that's because I think of her as my grandmother.
Myrtle's us.
And plus Myrtle's an old name.
Myrtle's who we are.
Right. So she had stayed in love with Ernst. No, she'd stayed in touch, also in love. She stayed in touch with Ernst.
Touchy love.
Even after he transferred schools and
he said, I gotta get out of here. She's gonna kill me too.
It's gotta be a little weird, right? Like,
a little freaky. Guy died in this house.
Yeah. He moved to a farm in Minnesota, and they made plans for her to join him there, where they would be married. But Ernst did let her know that her children, Ralph, 16, she had to be somewhat to have a 16-year-old. Yeah. But she could have had him when she was 15 or 16. Who knows? Anyway, her children, Ralph, who was 16, Delbert, who was 12, May, who was 9, and Lawrence, 5, would not be welcome. It is, as it turns out, terribly inconvenient to marry a dude who doesn't want your kids around when you have kids who are around.
Can't take care of themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So naturally, Myrtle decided her children had to go.
Oh.
So she had this plan. She's going to take her kids for a drive in the country, and she's going to let Ralph drive. She's going to give each kid candy filled with strychnine. And the plan was that all the kids would become sick. Ralph would crash the car. They'd all die, and it would be blamed on a car accident by a risky teenage driver. There are so many horrible things about this plan.
Wow.
For when she's a mother planning to kill her kids. Like, that's already like, what?
Yeah.
But then the fact that she was okay with being like, and we're going to have my oldest son be responsible for it. Yeah. And even though she's not thinking he's going to live with that responsibility.
She's like, he's not going to survive.
Yeah.
None of them will.
And she's okay with like, that'll be his legacy. He killed all his family. You know what I mean? So she followed through with this plan, and the kids did get sick, and Ralph did crash the car. But the problem was all of them survived.
Oh,
yeah. So
she just didn't get that dosage right.
Yeah. She needed to talk to Baba Anushka.
Yeah. Yeah.
When questioned, Myrtle said she'd gotten the candy from a door-to-door salesman. They launched a manhunt. Obviously, they didn't find him.
Why would you?
The DA was skeptical, and he finally got a confession out of her. And when they did,
she was like, fine, whatever.
She just, I guess after you keep going at some point they beat you down, right?
Yeah.
Then they exhumed Edward's body and realized that he'd also been poisoned. Yeah.
Oh, no. So she lost the kids anyways.
Well, yeah. So Myrtle said it was Ernst who had poisoned Edward. She said he had offered to help her care for her husband before he died, and then poisoned him. And then he had threatened to do the same to her if she ever told anyone. So it's like, no, Ernst did this. And I just didn't say anything because I was afraid.
Right.
Okay. Now, Ernst, who was in jail for a bit, like while they sorted all this out, they were like, we're just gonna lock you up.
Keep you here for a bit.
Figure out some things. Of course, he denied that claim.
Right.
But also, he wouldn't talk about Myrtle at all. He said, quote, I am not going to injure her. When this is all over and she gets back to her senses, I don't want any words of mine to affect her feelings for me. Let's just let it sink in. I don't understand.
I want her to still
he's clearly a lunatic, right? Like, she murdered her husband and is accusing me of murder, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. I'm hoping we'll get through this.
She's going to kill you next, Ernst.
Like, I'm just really hoping that, we're going to be okay. What do you think's going to happen? Like, what is your plan here? What? When she gets back to her senses, she's going to be in jail, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I just feel sorry for him. It does make me curious about their age difference. Like, if she was a lot older...
Right.
Was he kind of brainwashed, or?
I don't know.
Was she
a cougar?
This is the kind of thing, I've said about men before in stories, but I'm like, was she amazing in bed? Like, what is it that he was like, I don't care that she murdered her husband and accused me of murder. I'm still hoping.
I can't.
I'm hanging on. I
can't let that go.
One last note I read in an article about the murder. Ernst told his aunt that he intended to marry Margaret. I guess Margaret is Myrtle. I think actually, let's start that over. I think I typed the wrong name. I meant her. So, one last note I read, Ernst told his aunt that he intended to marry Myrtle and had become quite attached to her children.
At what point did he become attached to the children? Because he said they weren't welcome.
Well, that's according to Myrtle. So,
Yeah.
is that true or not?
No.
Which one's true?
No.
Yeah, why would you fall in love with a woman with 4 kids and be like, I want you to come to my farm and marry me, but don't bring your kids? No one's gonna do that.
Kids can come.
I mean, except for her, who wants to kill her kids. But
yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So Myrtle was found guilty and sentenced to prison.
Okay.
She got 10 years for murdering her husband, and then an additional 10 years for each of her 4 counts of attempted murder on her kids.
Oh, so it's 40 plus 10?
But those 4 sentences were served concurrently.
Oh.
So, also just a random thing that I noticed, the day she was sentenced was also her youngest child's 6th birthday.
Oh.
You know, the one she tried to kill.
What a piece of
and blame on her oldest
child. What a piece of crap.
So, with the 10 years for murdering her husband and then the 4 10-year sentences that were all served at the same time, that's 20 years total. But she was only there for 5 years before she is pardoned by Governor Fred R. Zimmerman.
She's a pardoned turkey.
I don't know why he pardoned her. I couldn't find it anywhere. I just know that he
went on a taxi ride with her.
Yeah, okay. He granted her a conditional pardon and paroled her to Dr. Otis M. Johnson, a Methodist minister.
No.
And Myrtle was supposed to live there in his home for a little while.
Why?
I assume it's like, he's a minister. He'll fix her.
He'll make her right with the Lord.
Be fine. So she was supposed to live there for a little while before she goes to visit her daughter. The one, that she tried to have killed.
Right.
Not have killed.
She tried to kill.
She was yeah.
That was the candy salesman.
Myrtle, oh my gosh. Myrtle went on to start a new family in Illinois. Just.
With the minister?
No. She lived there for a while. It's just kind of like what happened, with Nellie. It's like she goes to jail, or Nellie didn't go to jail, but it's like they're hardly impacted by the crime they did of murder. And then that part's over and they just go have a new life somewhere else. Yeah. Edward Shad was buried in Hillside Cemetery. And if you're following, that means my next story is connected to Hillside Cemetery.
Another point of the triangle.
Thank you for noticing. Mm-hmm. So, Hillside Cemetery would later become the site where a body was left in 1980.
Oh.
Now, there is hardly
not
any
one
information.
Buried, it was just left there.
You're right. There was hardly any information about this one. Kathy Thomas was a 19-year-old college student at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater.
She was
normal? Also, no, this was in the 80s. This is 1980.
Okay.
So this was actually the University of Wisconsin at this point. She was also the stepdaughter of Whitewater's sheriff at the time. Mm-hmm. She went out one night to go shopping, have drinks. She played pool with her friends. And then she never came home that night. 4 days later, her partially nude body was found in Hillside Cemetery. She'd been strangled and beaten with a blunt object. The fact that it was 4 days later.
Yeah.
And her partially nude body was found in Hillside Cemetery. Like, I don't know the circumstances of where her body was found, but it just makes you think, like, did someone hang on to her for a little bit and then put her body there?
Or did they
had her body been there the whole time?
There, and no one had seen it until they were...
Yeah. Because it could have been behind, sometimes they have those above ground, like
grounds,
tombs or something, and she could have been behind mausoleums. So I couldn't think of that word. But, I mean, maybe it was hidden somewhere, but it's just 4 days, and it was just out there in the open in what seems to not be like a very big town.
Poor thing.
Michael Crabtree, that one shouldn't have even been hard to say,
I love it.
was also 19, and he was eventually convicted of her murder. He was sentenced to life in prison with an additional 10 years for rape. Wow. Which is just,
horrible.
Kathy's mother was Sally McKenzie, and she was a really religious woman who she publicly forgave Michael Crabtree for what he had done to her daughter. And she also made it known that she was against the death penalty.
Oh.
And I just feel like the amount of strength it would take. I cannot. Like, my kid is dealing with some like bullying crap, which is, Her kid was raped and murdered.
Yeah.
My kid's dealing with a stupid bully.
Like online cyber
loser kid who I want to rip to shreds.
Yeah.
And that's just for like dumb teenager stuff. I don't know how people do it.
I don't like people.
Well, yeah. I don't know if that could be that forgiving.
No.
On the other hand, maybe the only way you move forward is to find a way to forgive and let it go. And you'd have to truly forgive to let it go. But how would you? I mean, I just can't imagine.
Sometimes all I think about is you.
Yeah, that's basically constantly.
Yeah, I would think about it all the time.
So, yeah, that's all I could find about it. So I don't know anything about like how or why or whatever.
Like how they knew each other.
I always think it's weird when it's like a case like this that like that went to trial. You know?
Yeah, like
he
what
was
were the
convicted
details?
of her murder. Unless he pled guilty. Maybe there wasn't a trial.
Maybe.
It fascinates me when I can't find a whole lot of information about a murder story.
Yeah.
So this is the last one I'm going to talk about, and this one I expect to be a name that some of you will recognize if you're into true crime. It's the most recent like big murder, and it got a lot of publicity. On June 22nd, 2007, Kelly Nolan was out with her with 3 of her friends. She had more than 3 friends.
I don't.
And they were it's okay. I count.
I don't.
Like,
yeah.
Extra 12. Same of them. Okay, so they were hanging out at a few bars in downtown Madison, Wisconsin, and at 11:30 that night, she told her friends she wanted to
time out.
Jason says time out. And we're back.
And we're doing it.
Hello.
Here we are.
No idea where I was. Any idea where I was? Well, we'll start here we'll just start.
Just start with the June.
Gotta adjust my whole everything right now.
I just love these necklaces.
I do too. Oh, we didn't talk about them on the...
Oh, guys!
Let's do them at the beginning of the next episode. Yeah. So, next video, you guys will get to hear about the necklaces. But one of our listeners sent it to us, and they're so
amazing.
pretty. Okay. On June 22nd, 2007, Kelly Nolan...
Which was not that long ago.
It really wasn't. Kelly Nolan was out with 3 of her friends, hanging out at a few bars in downtown Madison, Wisconsin. At 11:30 that night, she told...
Stay out that late?
I mean...
I like my sleep.
I'm in bed at 9:30. When I was in college, it was like you hung out, and you went to the club at around 10.
Yeah.
Now, if you show up at 10...
What are you doing?
You're a nerd.
Yeah.
Oh. We went out for a friend of mine's birthday over the summer. And
I remember these stories.
One of my friends and I really wanted to dance because I love to dance.
Yeah, same.
I never get to do it.
Yeah.
We were out, and my friend and I were like, where can we go dance? And I mean, we were just people were like, you can't. It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it was not like, I mean, you could, but nobody does. It was just,
you don't.
No.
You don't do that.
And so,
unless you're in Nashville, you just don't do it.
So my friend, I just don't want to say her name, I don't want to eat all. But my friend was like, she asked this bartender, because another girl in our group was like, here, the bartender will tell you. And he came over and he was like, you cannot go dance. And it was just weird. And then my friend was like, well, where can we go if we want to dance? And he was like, the parking lot. Like he said it in such a snotty way.
Yeah, like why would
But I was like, I will go dance in the parking lot. Don't tempt me.
Yeah.
That sounds fun,
Yeah.
But anyway, we did find a place that they had some music. And that's all I need. Right?
Yeah.
That's generally
Were you all the
that's
only
required.
ones at this facility?
We weren't the only ones.
Okay.
We weren't even the only ones dancing.
Oh, good.
But the other aspect of it is, I don't care if I'm the only one dancing.
Right.
The point is I'm dancing.
I just want to dance.
Anyway.
Side note.
So it fascinates me now, though, that like back then it was like, you can get there at 10 and you're okay. Now it's like, good Lord, you really can't get there till like midnight.
No.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, you dance till like
leaving
3 or
at
4
midnight. Who are you people?
Oh.
What do you do? What do you do in the mornings? Okay. very off track.
Yeah.
At 11:30 that night, she told her friends she wanted to stay out a little longer, but her friends wanted to go home, so they left without her.
Okay.
Now, we've discussed this
You
before.
don't leave your friends.
Right. But the thing is, she was a senior at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, and she was known as extremely social, free-spirited, and laid back.
So she probably knew everybody.
Yes, and it wasn't that unusual to be like, she's going to stay out by herself because she's going to run into people she knows. And that was kind of, it's like maybe the friends she was with left,
Yeah.
but they know that there's lots of more of her friends who are still out.
My
She'll
only
just find
concern
them.
is she coherent enough to know which friends she's finding?
That's one of the things that we're not sure of.
Oh, okay.
So, she'd find someone else she knew, or she'd make new friends. It just didn't seem like a big deal.
Right.
At 2 a.m., a guy named Andrew, who's described as an acquaintance of Kelly's, saw her at a bar called Lava Lounge and offered to walk her home, which is about 3 blocks away. So
really not a bad walk.
Not far. So Kelly and Andrew start walking, and while they're on their way, another man shows up and says he knows Kelly. And he's like, I'll just walk her the rest of the way home. You don't have to. And so Andrew left Kelly with this other guy.
Oh, no.
One thing here is that we don't know if Andrew offered to walk her because he thought she needed someone, like if she's too intoxicated to go by herself, and he was just trying to like make sure she got home okay. Or if he was just being gentlemanly.
Yeah.
Or what, you know? And then that's it. Kelly vanished.
Oh, no.
Police do believe Andrew's story, like he's not a suspect at all.
Okay.
They did show a sketch, presumably of the guy Andrew left Kelly with, to bar employees around town, but that didn't lead anywhere. And the sketch was never released to the public.
What?
Which I find so strange. I don't know if it's like maybe Andrew was intoxicated or where it was dark and maybe they're not like 100% sure how valid the sketch is. Yeah. But like, why would you show it to bar employees?
Right.
I mean, it could be like if they think it's possible the sketch isn't good or accurate, you don't want to release the wrong sketch either, right? Like, what's the case up in Indiana of the 2 girls who were murdered in the park?
When it was snowing.
Crap. No, shoot.
Was it snowing?
No, I can't think of it. Goodness, and it's just one of those cases that like I keep thinking is going to get solved. It happened recently. 2 little girls went to the park.
Recent one. I thought you were talking about the story you had.
Oh no, I haven't done this one. I have. Oh shoot. Well, anyway, and there is a murder case, which I'm sure several of you are like screaming out loud as you listen to this right now. But they released one sketch that didn't go anywhere, and then they released another sketch later that was very different from the first one. And so it's like, but by that time, you've lost all this time.
Yeah.
And
people have been looking for the wrong person.
Yeah, so you don't want to release the wrong sketch, I guess is what I'm saying. So maybe that's it. Maybe they're just not that confident. Maybe they're not sure of Andrew's memory or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
A bad sketch can make you rule out someone who maybe shouldn't be ruled out.
And also they were probably like, it was dark. It was like 2 a.m.
Who knows? So Kelly's friends and family posted flyers, created Facebook groups, offered a reward for information leading to her return. Like they did all the things that you do.
Yeah.
Her family knew that Kelly hadn't simply disappeared by choice. She was already planning on getting a part-time job on the university's main campus for the summer, and she was about to enter her final year of school that fall to get her communications degree. In an interview with ABC News, Kelly's sister April described Kelly as conscientious and said that she'd never just disappear like that because she'd know that there would be hundreds of people worrying and wondering. It's completely out of her character. She's responsible and has goals for her life. I know. So police followed leads called into a tip. Oh, no. Police followed leads called into a tip line and performed dives in a nearby lake to search for her. They also examined surveillance tapes of businesses in the area to see if they could find any clues. So it seems like, you know, it's a super active investigation. They're really looking into it. The thing is, no one reported any kind of struggle. And Andrew, like, he offered to walk her home, and then he was, like, okay with leaving her with that guy.
Right.
So he clearly didn't get any weird vibe. Kelly must not have given him any weird vibe when the other guy showed up.
Yeah.
And the other guy said he knew her, and Kelly must have been like, yeah. You know what I mean? Because I just get, I don't know Andrew. But, like, he offered to walk her home, and then he was like, yeah, it's fine, you can walk her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like he could have caught on to a vibe if there was anything real sketchy,
Yeah.
obviously. So, anyway, it seems like she willingly went with the mystery guy. They didn't do anything like a struggle or a fight or whatever that caught anyone's attention. They're just out walking in public. It's late at night, but it's not like there's nobody else around.
Yeah.
It's assumed that this guy was around college age, or at least appeared to be, because if he'd been older or looked creepy,
it would have been sketchy.
Right, it would have been noticeable in a college town if there's suddenly this like super old dude.
Yeah.
He would have been out of place. And it's entirely possible.
Also, where did this guy come from?
No one knows.
Like, just out of the blue, off of a street, he was like, I got this.
Right. Did he know her? I mean, it's almost like he had to have known her.
Yeah.
Because wouldn't she have been like, I don't know you? And Andrew would have been like, she doesn't know you. I don't know. It's entirely possible that another person could have shown up. And either the mystery guy doesn't play into this at all, and there's like another mystery person, or that's an extra person showed up to like help the mystery guy.
And the mystery guy just didn't report anything.
Right. But it's also like they've never been able to place this mystery guy. So you feel like if you weren't involved, and there's all this publicity, you would have come forward and been like, ruled yourself out.
Yeah, like, hey, I was the mystery guy.
If there was any sort, if there was any sort of threatening behavior, or if Kelly was scared or anything, she could have been easily subdued if there was more than one person.
Right.
Even if there was one person, but two people especially.
Yeah, but with them, like not sharing.
Quiet her down. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, in the search for her, cell phone pings led police to a densely wooded property in a town called Dunn, about 10 miles south of Madison. Over 100 officers and search dogs combed through the area, and on July 9th, 16 days after she went missing, Kelly's body was found about 25 feet from the road.
Oh my gosh.
She had no known connections to the area in which she was found. Reports say that Kelly was dragged from the road to the spot where she was found, and that another crime was committed there. So it's assumed that means she was alive.
Yeah.
When she was taken there.
Not that they had done another crime to another person.
Well, I guess at first I took it like she was dead. They dragged her there and then committed another crime.
Yeah.
Against her body.
Yeah.
But the more I read about it, I was like, no, they're saying she was alive.
They drug her and killed her there.
How did they drag her? That also would make it seem like there was two
fighting.
people. Or that she was heavily intoxicated or drugged or knocked out. You know. So it's fairly safe to assume that whoever killed her had a car, right? Because somehow he got her from Madison to Dunn, which was 10 miles.
Right.
And the whole being drag thing, I put that, it's like, was she so intoxicated? It was easy for one person to drag, or could there be a second person involved? Or could it be the one guy and he just subdued her in some way, like hitting her or drugging her or something? The property where she was found was owned by an 86-year-old unmarried woman. And I don't know if whoever took Kelly there already knew somehow that it would be a place that he could take her and no one would see or hear anything. Yeah. Or did he just get lucky? This is literally, that's it. That's the extent of what we, the public, know. It's been over 14 years.
That's insane.
Kelly's murder is still unsolved. I know.
Because there has to be DNA evidence on the body, right?
I don't know. If there is, the police aren't saying anything about it. On the 10-year anniversary of her death, her family released the following statement. The passage of time in no way diminishes the heinousness of the crime, the guilt of the criminals, nor the need for accountability. We and the authorities believe there are people in this community and elsewhere reading this today who can shed light on what happened to Kelly if they will only reach out and tell someone. Our family realizes that providing this kind of information now may not be easy for you, or that you may be embarrassed or even afraid, but we would ask you to be brave, to examine your consciences and do the right thing. It's such a powerful statement.
Yeah.
So just in case anyone listening to this episode happens to know anything at all, here's a little information to jog your memory. Kelly was 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighed 125 pounds, and had shoulder-length dark hair. At the time she went missing, she was wearing an emerald green scoop-necked blouse and blue jeans. She was carrying a gray-green handbag with a lot of external pockets.
All the pockets.
She was driven. She had plans and goals for her life. She had a big family. She was very outgoing, and a lot of people loved her. There are 2 veteran detectives assigned to Kelly's case, which still remains open and active. If you have any information at all, even if it seems dated or insignificant, please contact Madison Area Crime Stoppers at 608-266-6014.
Oh my gosh.
That's the end of this series.
It baffles me that they may or may not have all this information on this case, and I understand it's open, so they can't share a ton because then they'll be like, oh, then people will just come forward and be like, they knew this about the crime or whatever.
Right.
Or there could be a jailhouse snitch trying to get out of something and be like, oh,
like,
well,
I understand the reasoning they keep stuff hidden, but I'm going to do another case that's going to come out next week that's the same. It's like the police are like, we have evidence, but we're keeping it to ourselves, and it's just like, oh. Especially in, that's another one like this one where it's been several years. So just like release a little something.
Is it bad that my mind always goes when there's cases like this that like, have they looked into like suicides in that area, like around that time frame?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Because
I feel like that's got to be an angle they pursue, but also I don't know. I mean, you got to think how many murders are they investigating at once?
Yeah.
But
which trail is it going to lead you down and which one are you going to follow?
Yeah. Yeah, poor baby. It's just awful to think that I can't imagine not having an answer. So that concludes our couple of episodes here on Whitewater. I do think it's interesting, that it has a few kind of notable murder stories attached to it too.
Yeah,
and maybe that's something that you'd find if you did a deep dive on any city of that size. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a big city, but it's just like there's like Lexington, like there are murders here, but a lot of them are like gang related or domestic violence.
I was going to say there's a lot of domestic violence.
Like a stalking, murder, body dumped somewhere situation. It's just not something I hear about very often, and I pay attention, obviously.
Yeah,
but okay. That's it.
Maybe we need to quiz go talk to the fire department and be like, what stories can you tell
probably
us?
Don't want to know. If it's true. Local, I'm like, listen, I'm already convinced I'm going to be murdered at any minute. Don't give me, don't give me facts.
Yeah, this is so very true.
We're afraid of whitewater rafting.
We can't ride big roller coasters.
So yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And if you would like to reach out to us, you can find all the places to contact us in the show notes on this episode.
Yep. Or on our Instagram link tree. It'll literally take you everywhere you can go.
And that's Witches Magic Murder Mystery. And you can email us at witchesmagicmurdermystery@gmail.com. We love hearing from you, whether it's a story idea or just
silly little things.
Any sort of thing you want to say. I enjoy
Guys,
it. Oh my God. Oh, wait.
I was going to say, we have we're really bad at multitasking sometimes. We have a million things going on. We have children, we have homes, we have jobs. Sometimes it takes us a hot minute to get back to you. So be patient with us. Yeah. We'll get there.
We do appreciate all of it. I did want to say real quick, do you all remember when I did the Mother Shipton episode?
Yes.
And I was like, this voicemail came from Rachel, and our other voicemail also came from Rachel.
Oh my gosh!
So if your name is Rachel, you should probably
message us on Anchor.
And so we got some voicemails from people who were like, "Hi, my name's Melissa, but you can call me Rachel." And that was all. There wasn't a story,
and I love it so much. So hey, Rachel, Melissa, Rachel.
Man, y'all are the freaking best.
I just love you guys so much.
I love that you all are funny.
Yeah,
just don't be funnier than we are.
You're our people, though.
Okay, we love you.
Okay, so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.